Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Welcome,
everyone. Welcome
welcome to
to
the Friends and Fiction Book Club.
welcome to our December 2025 Friends and Fiction Official Book Club with Brenda and Lisa. That's such a long title, but we're here.
It is
This
what it
is
is.
It is what it is. This is our last book club discussion and live event of 2025, and I can't think of a better way to close out the year than to discuss this fabulous book that you guys have been buzzing about with this fabulous author. So I am going to be very quick. I'm Lisa for those that are new. We just hit 40,000 members a little bit ago. So, any of our new members joining us, thank you. I'm Lisa with my co host, Brenda. And
Hello.
let's not keep the people waiting for what they want. Introduce
No,
our friend.
let's don't, because we have some. I was going to say rapid fire, but that might scare her away. Questions, questions for our guest tonight, Jenny Colgan. She's the author of numerous Sunday Times and New York Times best-selling novels and has won various awards for her writing, including the Melissa Nathan Award for Comedy Romance, the RNA Romantic Novel of the Year Award, and the RNA Romantic Comedy Novel of the Year. Her books have sold more than 15 million copies worldwide, and in 2015, she was inducted into the Love Stories Hall of Fame. All of those things I would love to ask her about. Jenny is married with 3 children and lives in Scotland. Welcome, Jenny, to our book club.
Hi, Brenda. Hi,
Hey.
Lisa. Oh, guys, I am so sorry. I'm just so sick.
Oh,
Oh,
can
But
you put
it's
your,
still lovely
turn
I'm
to
your
so,
be.
camera.
What's that? What's that?
Turn your
can you
camera
turn your
back on.
camera on?
I can turn my camera on, but I tell you what, I look like the obvious sickest person. Hi, guys.
Oh, you look beautiful
Oh,
I'm
still.
in my gym
dang.
jams. I've got my dog and my
Oh,
doobies.
yay.
I will try. I'm going to try my hardest not to cough and sniffle my way
Oh,
through. I've already ruined the whole weekend of Christmas things, so I'm doing my best to
oh.
get over it.
So
Well,
sorry.
we're so grateful that you stayed up late, especially when you're not feeling well, to chat with us. We are honored that you are joining us tonight. So we will get started and we won't keep you too long because we know that you're not feeling well. And Nora is so cute.
She's snoring her head off.
Isn't she?
My
She's a
little girl.
good companion for keeping you company this late.
Yeah, she's
Well,
like a hot water bottle.
well, Jenny, we hope you feel better soon. And again, we're going to talk about this wonderful book. But for our book club members, be sure to put any questions for Jenny you have in the chat, and we'll take a look at them. As always, we're spoiler free until 7:15, but that leaves us lots of time to dig into this amazing book. So, Jenny, I know I'm going to ask you to give an extra brief summary for those who haven't read it yet and will be leaving us at spoiler free time.
Well, the Secret Christmas Library is about Mirren, who goes to track down a missing book in a very big house in Scotland, in the Highlands of Scotland. And really, I wanted to write a kind of adventure. It's a kind of puzzle and it's romantic and it's fun. And obviously, it's set in Scotland, which is where I am from and where, of course, I am right now. And yeah, I always recommend to writers, particularly, always write what you want to read. And this was very much the kind of thing that I enjoyed writing very much.
Well,
Fabulous.
I just loved it. And you really hit on kind of the key thing that I came away with. I When I read it, I thought, "Oh wow, this is so many different things rolled into one big package." It's part kind of mystery, part cozy mystery, part romance, part tribute and travelogue to Scotland. I just could not put it down. And I have to say now, Mirren is officially my new book hero because she's so awesome.
This is the second, sorry, this is the second book we've done with Mirren where she finds a book. This is what she does. And I have to keep pointing out to people that it's not a real, I don't think it's a real job. I don't, I
Right.
don't,
If
I
only
don't
it
think,
were, right?
I don't think you
know.
can do it for a living. But yes, Mirren stumbles across rare manuscripts and she works with a very kind of devilish specialist in old books as well and in old manuscripts called
But I
Theo.
love her sense of humor too.
Yeah.
She's a very appealing character.
I think because I wanted to write something that's a bit magical. There's no magic in it, but that it has a magical feel to it. And so you need to make it more fun, you need someone very grounded in a magical
Yes.
situation, I always think.
Yes.
Well, I wanted to read two comments from the chat to you because we have a lot of people that are joining us from all over the US. And then some of our friends over in Scotland will watch the replay later, I'm sure. But Lee says, um, first she said that she's read 14 of your books and she's a big fan.
Oh, thank you, Lee.
And then Susie said, I love this book, Jenny. You had me at Scotland, one of our favorite countries we visited twice, and a library. And
Oh.
everyone is sending you well wishes and hoping you feel better and thanking you for joining us tonight. And Maria says she loved the audiobook narrated by Elida Beaton.
Oh, Ailey, that's right, Ailey
Ely.
Beaton. Yes, that's a Scottish name and it's a Gaelic name, so it's pronounced something slightly different.
Very cool. Very
Yeah, no,
cool.
That makes
Ailey's
me
terrific.
I wanted to
want to go
share.
back and listen to the audiobook.
I did the audiobook. It was so good.
Oh,
Um,
I can. Do you know, I know Ailey's really good because people always tell me, but it's very hard as the writer to listen to it because all I can hear is stuff I wish I hadn't done.
I get that.
And so
Well, you
my
know,
husband tries to put it on in the car, and I'm like, no, I'm afraid this is not possible.
well, your books often blend romance, mystery, and general fiction with a cozy, uplifting tone. So, how do you approach balancing these different genres and ensuring one doesn't overshadow the other one? Because I think you do such a good job of blending, if that makes sense.
Oh, thank you. I don't really believe in genre, which is without us getting into like a 2 hour discussion about it. But I think
Yeah.
genre is kind of imposed. I believe in story, and I don't think that there's a million different ways to tell a story, but the fundamentals of story, whether the story is about a crime or it's about a romance or it's about a journey, which is kind of all that stories can be about.
Mhm.
And then everything else is kind of setting and marketing and stuff like that. So the answer really would be that I don't think about it at all. I also write for there's a television show that's very popular in Britain called Doctor Who. And I also write for Doctor Who, which is kind of like science fiction.
Get
And
out.
yeah, and so people are genuinely quite like, oh goodness, will you go from romance to feel good to Doctor Who? And that's not how it feels to me. I write a story and sometimes the Doctor's in it and sometimes it's
I
other
am
people.
a huge
Sometimes it's
Doctor
Mirren.
Who
Are
fan. That is
you?
amazing. A
Oh, who's
Whovian.
your Doctor, Lisa? Is it 10? It normally is when people get a little
Oh,
blushy.
honestly, my doctor is
Cat,
the
yeah.
current doctor, Cootie
Oh,
Katla.
oh, shit, he's fabulous. Yeah, yeah. Well,
It's
another
so
Scottish doctor,
good.
you see. You've got to have your Scottish romantic heroes. It's very important.
There's so many, but that's so awesome. Good for you. That's amazing.
That is amazing. Well, just before we have spoiler time, I wanted to ask you a couple of just kind of factual questions about the book. One is, and I'm sure there's an equivalent in the United States, but Mirren by trade is a quantity surveyor who, as it turns out, is able to find these rare books. by happenstance or whatever. Did you do any kind of research into the world of antiquarian book hunting or surveying to make those elements seem real?
None at all, Brenda. I get quantity surveying is in there. It's a if you're Scottish, it's a joke that you will get, which is that where on the east of Scotland, our game's rugby, which is like American football with no helmets. And so rugby is our game, and there was never a lot of money in it, and so they would always have to go and get jobs, and they always went to be quantity surveyors because no one quite knew what it is, and therefore they could get lots of time off for sports practice. So it's a kind of Scottish joke.
Little
Um,
inside joke. Okay.
yeah, and but I can tell you, I would say, unless I'm particularly misinformed, that I tragically, because I'm going to write another one. I love these characters so much. I'm going to write another one, so they're going to have to
Yay.
open some kind of ridiculous agency, and I'm reasonably sure. I think Sotheby's has a rare book department, but I think they do about as much detectoring as the X-Files department in the FBI, that kind of thing, I think we're just gonna, although the funny thing is, in the book, in the very early scene, Mirren takes the night train between London and Scotland, which is a train I take all the time. I'm taking it on Wednesday. Let's hope. And in the book, I add an extra carriage to the train, which is a private carriage, because I thought this was a lovely idea. Because why not? And ever since, there's so many people have asked me about the private carriage and the Caledonian Sleeper since, that I am now tempted to put it as a business proposition for very rich people to get a private cash. But no, unfortunately, I have been writing books for 25 years and I'm clueless as to the nature of real jobs, really. Unless it's in a Richard Scarry picture with like a pig doing it, I really don't know what goes on in an office at all.
That is hilarious. I'm so glad I asked that question. And
I'm
just as
into
an
it.
Seriously,
aside,
the last job I had, we literally, about the month I left, we got email for the first time. He's walking by and go,
gotcha.
what's this magic post? So no, I'm completely useless.
Well, that's funny. And by the way, I loved the train carriage. That was just an amazing element of the book. But
Mhm.
I was also curious about one of the landmarks that you used, and that was the British Museum, where Mirren is sitting, kind of, meditating and coming to herself, where she meets Jamie. And in the acknowledgments, you say that you kind of took a little bit of license with that, but could you tell us about the British Museum and why you used it?
Well, if you've most people who come to visit London as a tourist will probably go to the museum, British Museum, and it's really amazing. It's absolutely huge. It takes up a whole city block, and in the middle of it is the British Museum reading room. Dickens wrote there. Karl Marx wrote Das Kapital there. It is an extraordinary historic place that was the library at the British Museum. And when I first moved to London, which was a very long time ago, it still was that. You could just get a library card and go and sit. I never did, but you could do that. And then that became untenable, and they built a new British Library. And the new British Library is really kind of cool, but it's very modern brick building. It's not beautiful or inspiring in the same way as the British Museum. So, whilst I love the British Library's collection, in my head, I wanted to carry on with the beautiful setting that the British Museum is in, which is in Bloomsbury, which is the really old part of central, or not terribly old, it's Victorian, but it's the kind of London that you see when you watch films about London. So I wanted to hold on to it. But I knew that there would be people out there that would just be like, well, I've read about this magic train. However, I must write in because you got the library wrong. So we did add a bit at the end to say, yes, we moved it. And then we said to the British Museum, I actually have a friend that sits on the board. And we said, can we come in and film a little bit in the library because it's so important to the book? And they went, yes, for £35,000. We're like, what would happen if we snuck in and took some on the fly? And they're like, you don't want to know. So there you go. But
Oh, that
both,
is too fun.
but you really should, if you're in London, they're very close together. You should go to the British Museum because it's amazing. And also, all museums in Britain are free. Anybody can walk in and see whatever's there, and all galleries.
Oh, that's neat.
So go to the British Museum, but also go to the British Library because that's where you will see Jane Austen's handwriting and the original
Uh,
sketches for Winnie the Pooh, and they've got Shakespeare folios. They've got the
Oh,
building is not beautiful, but the collection is astonishing if you like books, and I think we all do.
uh,
that makes that makes
that's
me
like
want
a
to go. And I'm
dream trip.
Oh yeah, it is. It's really. And
Amazing.
then once you've been to the British Library, you're just next to Euston, so you can get on the sleeper train and wake up in Scotland.
Amazing.
okay, Lisa, 2026. That's our
Right?
trip.
Woohoo! So I want to point
Well,
out that it is now 7:15. So
yes,
it
it
is,
is.
we're in the spoiler-free zone. We can talk, ask questions. The next question, I'm not sure if it will, it's not really a spoiler, but we'll see. We'll see
Depending
how
on
it
the
goes.
answers.
You never know. Um, so so you live in a castle in Scotland, which is amazing. So how much of your own home or local environment inspired the description of the crumbling, book-filled castle in the novel, and how much was pure imagination? Because now that we can talk spoilers, I feel like the castle was a living character itself, and a dominant one at that. So every time I thought nothing else could happen, something else did.
No, we live in a very small house that was built after the war to look like a castle, and it does very much look like a castle. This is not.
Amazing.
That's not where I am right now. But it's pretty sound, so it's kind of the best of both worlds, really, because it's castle-y, but also has a roof that works. Um, but no, one of the things that obviously I do with my job is I go around to book festivals and so on. And we went to the John O'Groats Book Festival, which is the very northernmost part of Scotland. I guess yours would be in Alaska somewhere. And it's a very long drive. Well, it's a long drive for us. It's probably lunch for you guys. And you have to go all the way up the northeast coast, and there's thousands of castles in Scotland. And where we are, which is the east coast, we're very close to Scandinavia. So quite often, like your nearest railway station is in Norway, something like that. So you get this very bright East Coast light. So we were driving up and it was just castle, huge castle after castle. And they were just so gorgeous. And I'd be like, let's go and see it. Let's go closer up and have a look. And the closer you got to it, the more, you can't have a castle by the sea with the wind we have and the weather we have. All of them
Oh,
were falling apart. They were all for sale, they were far too big. There was nothing you could do with them. Nobody really needs a hotel in the middle of absolutely nowhere. There's like 3,000 castles in Scotland. We have enough of them and turned into hotels and stuff. So, from a distance, they just glimmered and glowed and reflected off the sea. And then you got to them and you were like, oh, goodness. They were all falling apart. So it was from that, really. There's a lot of things that people just don't really have the inclination and the money to look after. And it's hard because there's not a lot of people live in the Highlands of Scotland. They're quite desolate. Um,
mm.
so it's hard to find builders and all of that stuff. So that was the inspiration, really. All these amazing places. You think, gosh, what must that be like? And actually, if you talk to people that live in them, the answer is very difficult and expensive.
Well, that's interesting because you really captured that because the time that they spent there was very much affected by the isolation, by the lack
Yeah.
of power and by the lack of, you know, phone service and all of that stuff. And so, so much happened. As Lisa said earlier, I just kept thinking, well, and we are in spoiler time. So when the maze was set, went up in flames, I thought, okay, yeah, that was really bad. And then.
Well, it was very clear, and I wanted it to, to to be an adventure, to be a proper adventure. And
Yeah.
somebody, I remember somebody had read it quite early and turned around and said, I think you've written a famous five. Is it those are books you have? Famous five books? Maybe not. It's a very
Okay.
like a Nancy Drew. There you go. That's a better
Oh,
example.
okay.
You've written a Nancy Drew fundamentally, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, so I have. But and also as soon as I was going to set it in a castle, well, of course you're going to have a maze, and of course you're going to have a lake because you have all these things. So it became such a fun playground because that's not. I normally work in quite small environments. I write books set in coffee shops or small hotels, or I normally deal with quite small concerns, and this was a really big, kind of grand palette to play on. So that was fun. Excuse me, I'm going to cough.
That's okay.
Oh,
I'm so
Sorry.
sorry you're sick.
oh
Yeah.
Um,
no.
Going a little rogue here, but the other thing that was really intriguing to me besides the castle itself was the puzzles and the riddles that Jamie's grandfather, left. And you're such a storyteller. I imagine that wasn't that difficult, but how did you test these? How did you figure out, how did you figure out what they would figure out?
Well, it's a funny thing because where I am now and where I spend a lot of time, which is Edinburgh, which is the capital of Scotland, and it's home. In fact, we're having our Christmas lunch tomorrow, hopefully. But it's home to a lot of crime writers. So Val McDermott lives here, Ian Rankin lives here, Joe Rowling as Robert Galbraith lives here, Chris Bruce. So it's full of crime writers, and they're always talking about crime. And what's amazing to me is quite often when they write crime, they don't even know who the murderer was or whatever till they get to the end. And in the
Yeah.
quiz they usually decide
Yeah.
at the end who she did. And I've always found that amazing because, of course, if you're working in romantic comedy, you know exactly who the people are you're dealing with. And so I find that so amazing. And then when I started to put this together, of course, it made perfect sense that actually you do it in reverse. So you get them to do what you
Yes.
want them to do, and then you go back and you go, okay, well, I'm going to have some pineapples, and then you kind of try and make it to fit so that it all kind of works out. So it was, I think, the first time I've ever really done something like that, and it was very satisfying thing to do was to kind of hack it back and go, okay, what if we. So there was a lot of
So
kind of,
you worked it backward.
yeah, I wrote it back.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
I don't know how you would sit. I think it would be very difficult to sit down at the beginning and go, right, this is exactly. Although I know people do. I mean, if you think, I suppose Dan Brown always has people chasing clues around, doesn't he? And he always knows that they've got to get to the top of the Lincoln Center or whatever it is they've got to do.
And it
But
was so
that's
funny though, because they seem to be so close to not doing it every time.
yeah.
It was very satisfying.
Thank you. Thank you. The yes, I think sometimes they have astonishing luck. But then that's stories, isn't it? Without luck, you don't have a story. Without luck, you don't have anything.
Oh, there you go.
There it is.
So I know Lisa has a question for you because she kind of specializes in book boyfriends.
Yes, we love book boyfriends and love triangles. So, uh, well, besides the love triangle, um, the book also features strong elements of community and a found family dynamic with the isolated castle. So, how important is that theme for you, like in your Christmas novels? Because you have several Christmas novels as well as
Yeah.
others.
Well, I think I always write about. I mean, for me, this is a very small cast. There's only, I guess, there's five of them and a dog. Yeah, there you go. Whereas normally I write about whole communities, whole island communities, or whole village communities, or I have a series set in Edinburgh called the Christmas Bookshop, which is about kind of street full of shops. So I normally like to have lots of people walking in and out who have things to do and can spin off into different books and whatever. So, but this was a much tighter focus than I'm used to. But I kind of enjoyed that too, just having this kind of, pentagon of people bouncing off each other all the time. It's quite a, and in fact, my next book is really tight. There's really only 3 people in it, and it takes place over,
Ooh,
Wow.
yeah, it takes place over 24 hours. So it's really, really compressed. That was really fun to do as well.
Wow. When and
that's awesome. Well, we were going to ask you anyway what you were working on next. So if you want to tell, we'd be happy to
Oh yeah,
hear.
no, it's really fun. It's called, well, at the moment it's called The Late Bloomer, and it's about a woman whose children, she's got twins, and so they've grown up and they've left home. And she's kind of, because I am that age, and I've really noticed amongst my friends, there's a lot of divorce, or there's a lot of people going, right, well, what am I going to do with my life now? Because you have children, it's everything, and then suddenly, you've got to kind of make a decision. And so, our marriage is really not going well, and it's a real sense of, oh God, this is kind of it now. Is this, are we just going to call it a day? And her husband's away with the children, and a man comes walking over the hill. Do you know what it is, you guys? It's like a kind of Mick Bridges of Madison County. There we go. That's, what I was talking about, right? What you're in the mood for reading. I was like, I want
uh,
something that's Bridges Madison County, but not as daft, right? Because if you read it again, it's quite daft. But that sense of midlife romance and possibility, and the idea that there's going to be a second chance, that there might be a second chance. Um,
Yeah.
I really, really was very interested in writing that. So it all takes place over a Midsummer's Day in the Highlands, and yes, so
ooh, and when will that
Yay.
quite
be
spacey.
out?
So yeah, it's always fun to try something a little different.
Oh, that
Do
sounds
you know
fabulous.
when that will be coming out?
Yeah, we are actually, we're gonna pull it, we're gonna attempt to pull it back a bit like a catapult. So we're gonna have a bit of a build up, and then it's gonna come out, because actually, while it's lovely to be published in the US and obviously the UK, but my biggest markets are France and Germany and the Scandinavian countries. So we're trying
Really?
to, yeah, so we're trying to line everybody up so that we can go in all the languages at the same time, which is
Wow,
boring
that's
publishing complication stuff, but that's what we're going to try and do.
oh,
Amazing.
I think that's interesting what the broad range of readership you have is awesome.
Yeah.
Um, it's amazing. Well, just a quick question. I think a quick question. Lisa mentioned a love triangle in her question that was kind of directed at something else, but I kind of felt like this story was kind of a love triangle, but if it is, it's kind of like an isosceles triangle because as nerdy as I am, because Mirren really doesn't want Theo back, but he's just a reminder of what she doesn't have. And so he was a really interesting character to me because he was fulfilling her opinions of how he would behave and such. But we actually had a reader. The reason I brought all that up was we actually had a reader question in advance, and Peggy wants to know, will Theo be redeemed and get a happily ever after in a new book?
Well, there's going to be another one, and there is another lady in it. Sorry, I'm such a mess.
It's okay. Take your
No.
time.
Yes, take your time.
Anyway, there is another one, but there's also the first book. There's an ebook that comes before the Secret Christmas Library called The Christmas Book Hunt, which is available, which is a short that I did for Amazon, where I first kind of came up, which is very much the beginning of Mirren
Mhm.
and Theo and how they meet. But yes, he's too much fun not to keep torturing, I think.
And I guess that technically that was two different questions. Will he be redeemed? And then will he get a happily ever?
Well, yeah, yes, I suppose that is true. I don't know because I haven't written it yet. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I kind of have the next book kind of that this will be the next one. Will this be the, yeah, it's gonna be the next one I write will be the follow-up to this one. And it's gonna be tons of fun, but I have no idea what happens to him at the end.
Well, one thing I definitely want to ask you before, before we end is about your and now we find out that you write Doctor Who. I was looking on your website and I saw your children's books and your science fiction, though it sort of seems like magical more than science fiction. Um, I just did not know that. You have, and you brought it up earlier, but you just really don't have any boundaries for genre, do you?
No, I mean, there's some things that I don't think I'd be very good at, um, uh, or that I don't read a lot of. I don't think I could hack a police procedural, but yeah, I really, really, really don't believe in putting stories in narrow lanes. I don't think it's good for us. I don't think it's good for readers, particularly. I think it's very bad for male readers, who miss out on a lot of stuff that they might enjoy because they feel so constrained, by what they think they ought to be reading. Um,
That is such a good point. Yeah.
and I had I don't read reviews. I genuinely don't read reviews, but I had a snooty newspaper one this week. And I saw it because it comes to me and I didn't look at it, but I looked at, you can always get an idea from the last line. I looked at the last line of the review in this kind of quite high-floating paper. And the last line of the review was, despite everything, you can't help but enjoy it. And I thought it's a guy who sat down, to go to make sure, to 100% sure that a book with a jacket like that, or a book by a female author like me, or a book with a title like that, because it is a daft title, could not possibly have anything in it at all. He had to force himself to admit that it was an enjoyable thing to do, you know? And that's a little sad. So
It is sad.
Yeah.
whereas in France, where c'est la littérature, it's just respected as a thing to do. My, I will tell you this very quickly before I go hoarse. My brother was coming through France from Korea, and he got hauled over into the customs line, which is always a miserable thing after a very long flight because he travels a lot. And the big customs agent took him aside, and Robin was like, "Oh God." And they said, "Excuse me, are you any relation to Jenny Colgan?" And he said, "Yeah, she's my sister." And this huge guy went, "Tell her she will always have a friend in the French border police." And then
I love it.
Frenchmen
That
are
is
very in touch
priceless.
with their feminine side, they don't care.
That is priceless. Oh
I love
my
it.
goodness. I have to read a couple of comments. Um, Maria says she loved the pineapple, and when Jamie asked Mirren to do the honors, and she says, "No chance. I've seen Indiana Jones." So funny. No snakes, no snakes.
It does go on about snakes for a bit. I really hate snakes. It does go on about snakes for a page and a half. Oh, thank you.
And everyone's excited that you shared about your new book. We have several things in the chat about that. And then one of our book club members, Ana Raquel, says she would be happy to read the Spanish edition of any of your books.
Oh yeah, fantastic. There's loads. Yeah, yeah.
And
Actually, funny enough, the Spanish people are the only ones that like the sci-fi. So there you
Oh,
go. I can't believe not one single person has sent you a good cold remedy for me. You've got all these
everyone
amazing
is
readers out there, and not.
everyone is wishing you well, and they hope you feel better. But I
not
can tell you from experience, for me, when I'm sick, I drink a hot toddy with the tea
yeah.
and a little bit of whiskey and honey and lemon.
Yeah.
and then I lay down and try to go to sleep, or I breathe a lot of steam.
Yeah,
I take
I
a
do. Yeah, I have. I've been
eucalyptus.
in and out of a sauna. I have had a hot toddy,
Mhm.
but more than one I feel is unwise. But the real
Yeah.
problem is that awful thing is every time I lie down, I just start to cough.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
However,
eucalyptus is good
really,
in the shower.
do you know what I'm gonna do?
Eucalyptus.
I was in Toronto last week or the week before last, which was awesome. And melatonin is a drug which is illegal in the UK, which means that every British person going to North America brings loads as much back of it as they can get in their suitcase. So I might take a melatonin and see if that will knock me out sufficiently.
That's also a good
I've just
remedy.
confessed to
And
taking an illegal drug in the United Kingdom.
ooh, you, no, you didn't. We're just, it's fiction. It's Friends and Fiction official book club, right? Um, and then for your throat, you can drink throat coat tea. That's the other one. We've got a couple things in the
That's
chat, and
hilarious.
we don't want you to talk too long, but there's several things. Like one of the questions, if we don't ask after you said you wrote for Doctor Who, it exploded with people sharing their doctors. They want to know who your favorite doctor is.
Oh, well, I will tell you because I ended up writing so much for David, who's Doctor number 10, who
Yeah.
is also Scottish. But the reason for that is he had an assistant called Donna, played by a wonderful actress called Catherine, whom I know a little bit. And Catherine and I are basically exactly the same age and very much the same kind of person that would very much be on board with getting on the TARDIS. And it will surprise nobody to know that Doctor Who does not have loads of middle-aged female writers. So whenever they needed someone to do Donna, they just got me. So I ended up doing 10 all the time. So I did his first ever, after David had left the TV show, I did his first ever time he came back to make some new audio drama for it. That was me. So I've written for David a lot, and he's a local boy, but also he popularized the show so hugely all over the world. So I love officially all the Doctors, but David's good fun.
Yeah, he's definitely a popular one. I love him too. And he was a couple of people's favorites. Um, and then one of the things, we had a couple people also ask, um, what what Christmas traditions do you have in Scotland? Like, what are you looking forward to this holiday season?
Well, I'm really looking forward to the boys coming home because they're both at college, so they're coming in on Wednesday and Thursday, and then do you know, we always used to do things like, go to the show or go to Edinburgh's Christmas, which is this big market with rides and things like that. And it's horribly overpriced and it's far too crowded. And the rides make everybody throw up, but that's all right because you do it. So I
Okay.
think on
Merry Christmas.
Thursday, we're still, oh God, I've frozen in a really horrible position. But yeah, so on Thursday, the boys are going to be home. And I think we're just all gonna, and my daughter's still here, and I think we're just all gonna, and I think a couple of waifs and strays are turning up as well from college. So I think I will take them all to Edinburgh's Christmas and spend a lot of money doing something not terribly enjoyable because I love them so much.
Oh,
Oh, I love that.
well, that
Well,
sounds lovely.
My
before
husband's like literally like, I'm going to Amsterdam. I will do anything but Edinburgh's Christmas.
before
Well,
we
we
let you
norm
go, we definitely want to ask you, where can our readers keep up with you online or on social media? And then also, is there an opportunity for people to get signed book plates? Because I know that
Oh,
or signed books,
yeah,
are there
yeah, there
certain
is.
stores we can? Okay.
Uh, well, you can follow my Instagram, which is that writer Jenny Colgan, and you can scroll through that. There's pictures of the house that we live in if you want to see that, and various inspo. I have a Substack. I can't remember what it's called. It's really late here. But every couple of weeks I send out a book recommendation. Although to be fair, they already have you guys for that, so that's not necessary. And if you would ever like a signed book, this is really easy to remember. The Edinburgh Bookshop in Edinburgh, Scotland, we'll take orders and sort that out for you. And I pop in anytime they need me to.
Very
Okay.
cool.
Like
That
sign in.
sounds fantastic. And after this, I will put your website too on our book club page.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's kind.
Jenny, thank you so much for staying up too. It is now 12:48. It's now Tuesday for you.
Like the worst guest you've ever had. I'm so sorry.
No, you were the sweetest for staying, and we know you canceled other plans, but you didn't want to cancel with
I
us,
did
and
not want to cancel you.
we were honored beyond belief that you agreed to join us. And Nora joined
And a
us too.
last look at Nora.
Nora says good night. This is
Oh,
very
good night.
late.
Feel better soon. Hope you have a fabulous Christmas.
Thank you so much, you guys, and
Yes.
thank you for being so nice to me.
Thank you so much. Take care, feel better. And we
Yes.
loved
Oh, what a trooper she was.
I know.
I felt bad the
Tonsillitis.
whole
I
conversation.
know. I felt bad for having her talk. I was trying not, but she's such a trooper and she's such a literary icon with the ranges of genres she writes. I had no idea she wrote for Doctor Who. That's just a whole nother level of her writing, but just her books published alone. I mean, she's so great and
Yeah, just her
I wish she
contemporary
felt
fiction.
better. I do wish she felt better, but I'm so honored that she took the time to meet with us so late at night for
I
time.
know. I just wanted to give her a hot tea and tell her to go to
I
bed.
know. It's like I have some throat coat tea and she was sweet
Yeah,
and
she was
still
super sweet.
beautiful, even though she was sick.
I know, right? When I'm sick, it is just not a pretty sight. But maybe we can have her back when
I would
her,
love, yeah, we
yeah,
totally should. She has so many books to talk about.
she
So one
does.
of
And
the things
go ahead, I'm
I
sorry.
wanted to ask, people have been sharing their doctors, their favorite doctor for Doctor Who in the chat. There's a lot of David Tennant, which we know that's going to happen.
Mhm.
Um, it is our last, which I can't believe this is our last book club discussion, but since it is our last book club discussion, for those of you that are hanging out with us still, share in the chat some of your favorite moments from the year or favorite memories or book club events. And we can share some while Brenda and I are going over our book club announcements and we can share ours too. So can't believe it's the last one of the year.
I can't believe it either. I'm just sitting here looking. Ah, so many wonderful books.
So while they're putting memories and things in the chat, what are your plans for the holidays?
Oh, I'm gonna have a pretty quiet holiday, but nice. My daughter and her family, including my new grandbaby, who's 6 months old, are coming over for
She's
Christmas
so cute.
brunch. And I'm super excited. I had my first grandma duty yesterday where I kept Everly for 7 hours.
Yeah, you did.
And I didn't know if I was gonna make she's a sweet baby. But
Brenda texted me and was like, "This is a lot." I was like, "You
yeah.
got this, girl."
Oh, she's a sweet, sweet baby, but I just wasn't used to it and I just needed more than two hands.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what I'm doing for Christmas. How about you, Lisa?
We are gonna have a very low-key Christmas this year, which is cool. We're gonna have Grinch mimosas, which I'm excited about.
Ooh.
And my brother and my mom and I don't know, my dad will probably be, yeah, he'll probably be here. It'll just be a spattering of family. And then my birthday is December 30th, so I have to figure out how to celebrate that, which I will find a way because I always
I'm
do.
sure you will.
And I'll be off of work, so I'm looking forward to just having time off because that's rare for me. So, yeah. So we've got a lot of people posting in the chat their favorite things.
Oh,
Um, Lisette says the anniversary event in Atlanta was one of her favorite. Leslie also said the Atlanta events. Anna said you guys have done a great job hosting. Oh, thanks, Anna. Barbara says the fifth anniversary celebration was the absolute best. I'll have to say that was probably that weekend was definitely one of my favorite memories for this year. Book club and just life in general. It was so beautiful to see so many authors and readers, and we got to meet so many of our book club friends in person and enjoy different events in Atlanta. The tea was great. The Margaret Mitchell house. I mean, the chance that our fifth anniversary party would land on National Book Lovers Day, which was not planned. We did not realize
no,
that when we
did
picked
not
the
know
date.
that.
At the Margaret Mitchell house, I mean, it just doesn't get better than that, you know? Sold out
Yeah,
Margaret Mitchell house. It's crazy.
yeah, it is. It's surreal.
And Edie says, end of the year book session favorites. Nothing beats the Atlanta get together and meeting the two of you. We loved meeting you too, Edie. Diane says, I've enjoyed every month's stream. Love your authors that come on. Thank you both for doing this monthly and love when Ron mixes his drinks. Me
He is
too.
awesome at that.
Me
He
too,
really is.
Diane. It's even
He's
better
super
when I get to
talented.
taste one, but I love watching him mix it.
Well, you know, there's some things you can count on. You know, you can count on having fabulous authors, but you can also count on when we have the happy hours. Lisa and I are both doing this, trying to see what
Right?
Ron is doing.
Like we were gonna actually see the bottom of the glass. And then you think
Right.
after 5 years, we
We
would
would
have
figure it
stopped doing
out.
we're still
We're like toddlers. Maybe it'll work this time.
Maria says my favorite book memory is meeting Frederick Bachman. Wow, that's awesome. A dream come true. I also loved meeting Mitch Albom. Of course, seeing the Fabulous Four in New Jersey again with Meg and Ron. Oh, those are great memories.
Yeah, and
Yep.
two powerhouse authors too. You know, I was thinking about as you continue it with if other people are mentioning, I several people have mentioned the 5 year anniversary, but one thing that besides that weekend that stuck out, well, two things. Is when we had the Wild Dunes, when we went to Mary Alice Monroe's Wild Dunes weekend, and we had the book club gathering there.
That
And
was last
Patty,
year.
was it? Wasn't it?
No, you're
I hope
right. But
so.
in my head, that seems so long ago.
So long ago, I know. I
That
just
was
really
last
enjoyed
year.
that because we hadn't had the 5 year anniversary yet, but
Yeah.
we were able to have a gathering. Kristen Ness came, Patty Callahan Henry came.
And Mary
You got
Alice
to
came to
meet
our book club
Kwame.
event too.
You got to meet Kwame Alexander and sent him photos from the event.
I did. You could hear a pin drop in that room during Kwame's
Yeah.
speech, and thank goodness for Lisette sitting next to me with tissues ready. It's like funny how everybody knows she's gonna cry.
Oh yeah, no question. It
Handing the
was just a
tissues
matter of
over.
when.
It was very, very sweet. And that, yes, that was also a very great memory from this year. That it was January. That's why it seems it's been
Mhm.
almost a year, but yeah, that's why it seems so long ago. Linda Limbach also says the fifth anniversary event was so special, and I was happy to be there celebrating with all of you. Anna also said fifth anniversary was perfection. Brenda Gaskell, I'm also glad I made it to the Atlanta event, spent some time with so many book lovers in person. Mindy says, I love seeing the Fab Four and Meg and Rob in New Jersey. And I enjoy watching you both with so many wonderful authors and happy
Oh,
hours with Ron. Lots of laughs. Yes.
yes,
The laughter, the love, the community. In a time like this when things are so uncertain for so many people, it's so
yes.
nice to have that escape and connection and love. And that is the most important thing, I think, for us and our community. And we love you guys. We couldn't do it without you, but we're so grateful for all of you and the connections that we've made and for you sharing your love for readers and authors and books. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Well, I can't say it any better than that, so I'm just going to say ditto. It's it's been just an amazing experience, and to have the authors on that we've had, that has been a true highlight. They're just,
Yeah.
have written some amazing books. So, but thank you all book club members for sharing, for being friends, for being our community. I feel like this is the closing, but we did have a few announcements we wanted to make
Yes, we
that
do.
sounded like the wrap up.
Before
So
Lisette
don't go
reaches through
away.
the screen and hands me a tissue, let's do
Okay. So I'll kick it off.
it.
We'll see you again in 2026 with our January book club pick, The Heir Apparent by Rebecca Armitage on January 26th. It's going to be a long time. Like that's
I
almost 6 weeks.
know. We get a break.
That's I know, crazy. Our February book club pick is, and Lisa's going to hold it up, Fire, Sword, and Sea, which I love this covered, by
Oh,
Vanessa
love it.
Riley on February 23rd. And our next happy hour with the fabulous Ron Block and surprise guest will be March 5th at 7:30, not our usual 7 for the regular book club, but our happy hour time at 7:30
And that's Eastern
Eastern time.
for our Scotland friends that are watching.
Yes.
That's 12:30 a.m. your time.
So probably not many live.
The next day, Tuesday. And then our March book club pick. Um, help me out with the date, Brenda.
March pick is March 16th.
Yay.
Forget Me
I
Not
love this
Library.
cover.
I do too.
It's so good. I can't wait to read this. So we've got a great lineup for the first quarter, and we actually might have another event that you guys might want to save the date for. So we don't know. We might have something coming up. We will have fun announcements in January that you guys are going to be excited for. And we look forward to more bookish fun in 2026. And before we sign off, and we've had all of our love, one of the things about the book club that many people don't know is that anything funded is Brenda and I. We do it ourselves. And so we do have a buy me a coffee. We did $5 for 5 years during our anniversary weekend, but we have kept that open for those if you like our content and you want to donate. Any donation is greatly appreciated. There is no pressure, but we will always put this up at the end in case you do feel the need to give or you want to give. We'd greatly appreciate it. You can scan the QR code, it'll take you right to our page, and we will buy coffees or teas. No, it will help fund the page for things so we can keep having cool events and giveaways for many of you that watch. So thank you
I
for
feel
that.
like
And thank
tonight
you to
we,
everyone who's donated already.
yes, thank you. I feel like tonight we maybe ought to send Jenny long distance a coffee,
I know. I want to send her a tea. I want to send
a
her.
tea.
Do they have DoorDash in Scotland? Like, can we
I
send?
have no idea. I mean, everything. I really want to visit Scotland. But Lisa, did you also want to mention the reading challenge?
Yes, we did announce our 2026 reading challenge. So you can go on the page and we have it posted. And when you post about the reading challenge, make sure you use the hashtag FFBC Reading Challenge 2026 and tag us so we can share and reshare. But if you're doing the reading challenge and you're finishing out this year, for December, the reading challenge prompt is to read a holiday book with an animal on the cover. And then we're kicking off the year in January with reading a backlist book by a favorite author. And we had a couple of questions about a backlist book. Basically, it's an older book by an author that you like, not new or like recently promoted, just something that they may have written. It could be their debut, their second, whatever. It's an older book by an author that you like. So, a great way to find a book that you already have that's been on your TBR and read it. So, yay! I'm excited for the reading challenge too.
Me too. So as we close out this year, we're already looking forward to next year. So I'm
Yep,
excited about our reading year.
me too. So, I'm gonna say happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and Happy New Year. And
And
cheers to
happy reading.
2020 and happy reading. Cheers to 2026. Hebe and Jay out for the last time in 2025.
2025. Good
Good
night.
night, everyone.